Assalamu alaikum everyone. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billahil aliyyil azim. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin wa ala ali sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim wa salli alayhi. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Okay, inshallah, we are going to continue our journey from the rays, the supreme sign, the first chapter. And this is the human journey as he ventures into the universe, into the cosmos. And it's based on the verse, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, the seven heavens and the earth and all that is in them, extol and glorify him. And there is nothing but glorifies him with praise. But you understand not their glorifying. Indeed, he is the most forbearing, most forgiving. This is from Quran chapter 17, verse 44. So we are at page 140. Yeah, this verse. Thank you for highlighting that. The seven heavens and the earth and all that is in them extol and glorify him, and there is nothing but glorifies him with praise. So everything that's in the universe, everything glorifies him with praise, but you understand not their glorifying. And this is what the journey is for the human being, to see the glorification being made by the whole universe. And I think the author through this journey is taking us through that.
So this is interesting. Is the author in this verse, the creator of the universe, implying that, hey, you got to understand what this universe points to? It's also as if speaking to me, like totally, like, you don't understand what this universe is pointing to, so you ought to understand. And so I say, yeah, what do I have to understand?
Yeah, so for example, if the author of the universe is saying, everything that you see around you is actually glorifying me. And how much do we pay attention to that glorification? So it's making me go through that training on how I should be able to see the glorification of everything. And I think we've been going through the journey of, we went through the vegetable, animal kingdoms and different mountains. And
it does sound like poetry, though, if you think about it, but you understand not their glorifying. It's interesting wordings, the way it speaks.
Right, you're right. But you understand not their glorifying.
It's really like,
which means it's an invitation. You can see that, hey, wait a second. So everything is glorifying. Is that true? Let me see. Is the sun glorifying, the skies, the clouds, the birds? So let's examine that. And then he says, and see how they are glorifying. Because something within the human capacity is there to make one understand.
So now we're on page 141?
Yeah.
140.
140 page.
Okay.
As this traveler through the cosmos proceeded on his meditative journey with increased eagerness and a bouquet of gnosis and faith, itself like a spring, gathered from the garden of the spring, there opened before his truth-perceiving intellect, his cognitive reason, the gate to the animal and bird realm. With hundreds of thousands of different voices, and various tongues, he was invited to enter. Entering, he saw that all the animals and birds in their different species groups, and nations were proclaiming silently and aloud, "There is no God but He. There is no God but He," and had thus turned the face of the earth into a vast place of invocation, an expansive assembly for the proclamation of God's glory. Entering, he saw that all the animals and birds in their different species, groups, and nations were proclaiming silently and aloud, "There is no God but He," and had thus turned the face of the earth into a vast place of invocation, an expansive assembly for the proclamation of God's glory. So it's not like the noises are being made by the animals, the barkings of the dogs or the meowings of the cats or the chirping of the birds. They're not noises, but they are declaring something in the way they are made. They're seeking attention also, and then they say there's proclamation silent. Either they're silent or aloud. There is no God but He, and had thus turned the face of the earth into a vast place of invocation, an expansive assembly for the proclamation of God's glory. He saw each of them to be like an ode dedicated to God. So he saw, the traveler is seeing them as to be like an ode dedicated to God, a word proclaiming His glory, a letter indicating His mercy, each of them describing the Maker, and offering Him thanks and encomium of expression of praise. Encomium. It was as if the senses, powers, members, and instruments of those animals and birds were orderly and balanced words. It was as if the senses, powers, members, and instruments of those animals and birds were orderly and balanced words, or perfect and disciplined expressions. He observed three great and comprehensive truths indicating, in decisive form, their offering of thanks to the Creator and Provider, and their testimony to His unity. So based on his observations, he's uncovering some truths indicating of how they are offering thanks to the Creator and Provider and their testimony to His unity. So the first, they are being brought into existence with wisdom and purpose. They are being brought into existence with wisdom and purpose. And their creation, which is full of art, in a fashion that in no way can be attributed to chance, to blind force, or inanimate nature. They are being created and composed in purposive and knowledgeable manner. They are being created and composed in purposive and knowledgeable manner. Their animation and being given life in a way that displays in 20 aspects the manifestation of knowledge. So they display the manifestation of knowledge, wisdom, and will. All of this is a truth that bears witness to the necessary existence of the eternally living and self-subsistent, His seven attributes and unity, a witness repeated to the number of all animate beings. So the first is their being coming into existence shows the qualities that there's whoever is bringing them possesses knowledge, will, wisdom, and other qualities, power, art, whatever you can see in their, the way they are life-giving, animate. So they cannot be a result of any, random happenings or chance. So some conscious maker is bringing them to existence. So this is the first. The second, there appears from the distinction made among those infinite beings and from their adornment and decoration, in a fashion by which their features are different. So they are distinct, made from among those infinite beings and from their adornment and decoration, in a fashion by which their features are different. All sorts of shapes and colors and designs, their shapes adorned, their proportions measured and symmetrical, and their forms well ordered. You got to really pay attention to see all these qualities that are being manifested in each and everything. There appears from this a truth so vast and powerful that none other than the one powerful over all things, the one knowledgeable of all things, could lay claim to it. So none other than the one powerful over all things, not just them, but over all things, the one knowledgeable of all things, could lay claim to it. This comprehensive act, which displays in every respect thousands of wonders and instances of wisdom. This comprehensive act, which displays in every respect thousands of wonders and instances of wisdom. It is impossible and precluded that anything other than such a one could lay claim to it. Basically, to give them the distinction from among different varieties of decorations that can go on them, how they're adorned,
Could claim. Okay. So
the features, their shapes, their sizes, the metric, like the wings of the birds in two symmetrical ways.
could lay claim. I was just going over could lay claim.
Could lay claim, yeah. So it is impossible and preclude that anything other than such a one could lay claim.
As in only the one
that I made these, or I am the one who.
Okay.
That's yeah. So
Only if one not of the nature of the universe can claim, hey, this is my doing.
Yeah. And the third, the emergence and unfolding of those countless creatures in their hundreds of thousands of different shapes and forms, each of which is a miracle of wisdom. Their emergence from eggs and drops of water, called sperm, that are identical with each other or closely resemble each other, and are limited and finite in number. All this in the most orderly, symmetrical, and unfailing fashion is so brilliant a truth as to be illumined with proofs and evidences as numerous as the animals themselves. So how they emerge out of simple material that looks similar, like the eggs and drops of water called sperm. All sorts of different shapes emerge from just those, little material kind of things. By the consensus of these three truths, all the species of animals are engaged together in testifying that there is no God but He. It is as if the whole earth, like a great man, were saying, there is no God but He. It is as if the whole earth, like a great man were saying there is no God but He, in a manner befitting its vastness, and conveying its testimony to the dwellers of the heaven. The traveler saw this and understood it perfectly. In expression of these truths, we said in the seventh degree of the first station, there is no God but God, to whose necessary existence in unity points the consensus of all animals and birds that praise God and bear witness to Him with the words of their senses, their faculties and powers, words well balanced, ordered, and eloquent. There is no God but God, to whose necessary existence in unity points the consensus of all animals and birds that praise God and bear witness to Him with the words of their senses, the words of their senses, their faculties and powers, words well balanced, ordered, and eloquent, with the words of their limbs and members, words perfect and persuasive, by the testimony of the sublimity of the comprehensiveness of the truth of bringing into being, making and creating, according to will, the truth of distinction and decoration, according to purpose, and the truth of proportioning and forming, the truth of proportioning and forming according to wisdom. Definite too is the indication given by the truth of the opening of all of their orderly, distinct, variegated, and infinite forms out of identical or similar eggs and drops of sperm that are finite and limited. So let's take a pause if anybody wants to say anything. This was the animal kingdom that the author, as a traveler, human beings can go through and wonder at the animal kingdom species and the qualities, how each and every movement, voices, the way they're shaped, the way they're emerging, their senses, where like for example, the way the ducks and the geese and the pigeons and the squirrels,
Yeah.
how their behaviors, every one has a unique, distinctive feature, and even within them, they have their distinctive colors and shapes and sizes.
I guess a trip in the wild next time won't be the same, because I was thinking about, we do notice all birds and squirrels roaming around, like even in big urban settings, but all this time that you went to the zoo or somewhere, it's amazing to see how different creatures are displayed also, like now. So, noticing more like colors and shapes, different sounds. Like I remember to this zoo place, and they had all these reptiles, like different.
It tells us a lot who their maker is.
Yeah.
Whoever is making them emerge like that.
Never.
Right?
Yeah.
So all these different qualities shows that there is will, power, wisdom, knowledge.
That's interesting.
And the glorification, like each and every way that they are, the qualities actually are the ones that are praising and glorifying their maker. So that whatever we see on them,
that's
in their acts, in their existence, are the signs that show the glorification. Thank you, Faria. So anybody else? Osman and Ali. Vas-y, dis-moi qu'est-ce que tu penses, Osman.
Assalamu alaikum. Both of us can't talk at the same time, so one by one. What attracted my attention here? There are lots of qualities mentioned in the existence of the animal. Each animal, although millions of different kinds of animals existed and remain now, some of them now extinct from the earth because whatever the reason anyway, but they know that millions of them, different kinds created, all of them are consistent in each of them in their own existence is consistent with their life purpose and everything. But what they say that within the cell, any animal cell, or something emits certain substance, enzymes, whatever they call them, and they continues to produce something, whatever fits, they keep it. But this comprehensiveness is the heart of this subject. I found others also mentions that their senses, faculties, and their powers, well-balanced, ordered, eloquent, limbs, members, and I mean, lots of qualities. Each of them, each of the species has its own characteristics, completely different from the others, although mainly every animal has certain limbs and members of their bodies, but each of them unique to each species. But let's say in one cell in the body of a bird develops in a certain way. Now, but there are in the whole world so comprehensive. There are millions, trillions of the same ant, species of ants. Everywhere is the same. And each of them developed within itself so comprehensive action that all over the world they are the same. But if my cell adapts itself to the environment and evolves in order to make it perfect, I'm thinking of myself as an ant. My ant, when my being an ant, should develop in a certain way because it's accidental. But whenever I feel I fit to the environment, I will keep it. Of course, so I have to know that I am fitting now. So as if I know my future now, that is, I need a leg like this. So accordingly, I will develop this DNA structure, whatever it is, biological, technical terms for it. Okay, how about Asia? In Asia, the same species of ant is there. Do you think it is also this? I cannot understand how do they believe in it. Happening in the cell itself and developing it, and perfectly fitting a special species happens and spreads all over the world at the same time. I don't know how do they explain this. There is I don't know, this paleontologists or whatever, it helped me to pronounce this name, studies the, how do you say, fossils of animals.
Paleontologist.
Yeah? Sorry?
Paleontologist.
Paleontologist? Yeah, I couldn't know. When I see the word, I know, but I don't know how it is pronounced and whatever. So, how do they justify it? Millions of different species developed in the same environment. For example, they say adapting themselves in the same physical environment. It's, let's say, 100 different species of birds, or maybe 1,000 different species of animals adapt themselves in the perfect way to the environment, but they are all different. They should adapt themselves in this, within the same conditions. I don't know. When I read them, they are just speaking with no reasoning. I don't understand. But they speak with a very sure, confident voice and sentences that science discovered this. Now they are adapting themselves, but the same environment, different species. Some of them is green because it is protecting their life. In the same against their predators or something. The animals eat each other, and that is how the circulation of life is renewed. Otherwise, I mean the eco balance cannot be kept. The order is perfectly arranged. Okay, but in the same environment, there's another bird with not red color, but with a green color, but red, yellow, or mixed up all the colors. But in the same environment, they should adapt themselves first color, the best color, adapting it, and there will be only one species there, but thousands of different species of animals develop there. Well, you cannot imagine how many different kinds of animals living in the same environment. All of them have different lifestyle, different limbs, different characters, different way of food, eating their substances, different way of communication. None of them is confused. None of them look like each other at all. Yeah. Why? I don't know. I'm so surprised. The word comprehensiveness, it means the same thing is happening all over the earth at the same time in a comprehensive way. Not one thing accidentally happened and developed. Millions of different kinds of species in the same natural environment, they say, physical environment, totally different creatures. One of them is an ant, the other one is a tortoise. Turtle. And the other one is a bird, the other one is a snake, the other one is a fly, mosquito. Completely different. The other one's butterfly. Completely different. In the same environment, they say they are adapting themselves. If they adapt, they should have the same time. The best fitting, survival of the fitting. So the best fitting one should survive, the others will disappear. But it is so important. They support each other as well as their nourishment, as their food. They are created, for example, life in the ocean. is so unbelievable. Thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of different fish in the same environment. So the balance is so perfectly. One kind feeds on the other, and that kind feeds on the other. But all of them are really growing and living with a perfect balance, although they have different lifestyles. Every fish has a different lifestyle, different color. I don't know how could they justify themselves. I'm puzzled. How could they justify themselves? I don't know. Sorry.
So the interesting thing about the animal kingdom, and especially when you look at the oceans and life in it, everything is in harmony. Everything is in very well kept balance. Only spoiled when human beings interfere.
But everything
is in
distinct from others.
yes.
No, in harmony, but distinct from others.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think what attracted my attention is coming back to the methodology that this author uses in how he constantly goes back to this concept of whatever he uses in the arguments, in the line of argument, he always goes back to this concept of inference, of the necessary existent one. In that last paragraph that Asim read, that says essentially the line that goes as there is no God but God, to whose necessary existence in unity points the consensus of all animals and birds. It's a very powerful methodology to reason using my senses, using things I observe in the world, using the how I see the created beings, animals, either animal kingdom or plants or whatever, how I can see and observe this balance, and how I observe this multitude in creation and in the behaviors, the creativity that is being displayed, and how I can use it as an argument or as an evidence for myself to point to the necessary existence of the source of this multitude that I see in the animals or the created beings. It's just it to me. It's the only way I can infer about the source of this multitude that I witness in this existence. It becomes impossible to refer it to the individual things themselves, as you mentioned, and as the text also describes. It just becomes essentially the obstacles become unlimited, or the obstacles become so absurd to overcome that it's all, that you get to the realm of impossibility. How can all these created beings distributed all over the world following a certain order, a certain harmony, a certain balance, every piece is connected to the rest of the world, how can it all be maintained if the things themselves are acting on their own behalf, away from any? There must be some source that orchestrates this the harmony of this orchestra, if you will. So it's a very powerful line of thought, the using the evidence I see from the things I witness in this world as to infer a conclusion about the necessity for a source that is maintaining this this harmony and this existence. So it's a very powerful line of thought. That's it.
Thank you, guys. That was based on your comments. I was also thinking about, how do we escape from, like, we also become insensitive from what the scientists kind of, the wordings that gets used in the civilization. And based on how Brother Ali was saying, I don't understand. It's I kind of see why, what's going on. It's true. Like, how can this make sense with all there's so many things going on in the animal kingdom. I mean, I was just wondering, for example, when you look at the chicken behaves differently, has its own personality. The dog has its own way of working. The legs are different. One is made to work on. It can also navigate through the waters. It knows the other one. Can fly a little bit higher, and then there's geese, and there's like all sorts of. Then there's turtles who have their the house, and all sorts of different varieties and shapes, and comprehensive, as you said, like all over the world.
Did you look at my turtle pet that way growing up?
Yes, and Faria has some turtle pets.
Not me.
Yeah, I remember those ones. But that's
Yeah, we didn't admire it that way. I didn't admire the creator. I admired the turtle by itself. Like looking at creation, but creation points to its creator. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, you want to continue?
No. Yeah, no, I think this is a great reminder from the author in terms of what does creation point to. So I was just reminiscing with my friend here in terms of different things that we come across, even like trips to SeaWorld, zoo, or whatever. You do admire creation, but that's about it. However, what the author is saying, that use that as evidence for yourself in terms of concluding, and that who's the one that's presenting me these qualities. So in turn, that praise and admiration goes back to its source of origin.
Yeah,
Right.
and when you talk to the experts at the SeaWorld, they will tell you exactly how this whale adapted and how this, to the environment that it was in.
Yeah.
So the whale got all the credit, or the whale knows it has that knowledge of how to do it.
Right. Yeah. No, really. Like even the shows are based
And these are the experts telling, and does that make sense? How did the whale know?
That's funny. Well, you train.
Like, how does it know to migrate from this ocean to the other ocean? How does it know that?
I don't know that one. Yeah. However, like the ones that you train.
They say instinct. The whale has the instinct, right? That's what they say.
Well, the
Where did
instincts
the
are
instinct come
given. Interesting. Well, you also train them, so they perform like a good show. And again, we get lost in, oh my God, baby Shamu, so cute, right? However, what is
We don't wonder how those skills, where they come from.
We are paying money to just watch the show without connecting it to its source. So yeah. Yep. Good reminders, alhamdulillah. Thank you all for sharing.
All right, so let's move on to the next paragraph. All right, that meditative voyager, in order to advance further in the infinite degrees and countless luminous stages of knowledge of God, then wished to enter the world of men. The most interesting being. Wished to enter the world of men, the realm of humanity.
Let's buckle up now.
Yeah, so to advance further in the infinite degrees and countless luminous stages of knowledge of God. So there's a purpose for us human beings, just like the traveler is to basically advance into the degrees of our knowledge, how the workings of the owner of the universe is, luminous stages of knowledge of God, then wish to enter the world of men, the realm of humanity. Humanity headed by the prophets. Humanity headed by the prophets invited him. So the prophets are offering their invitation. Listen to me, I have a message. And he accepted the invitation.
This is a big statement that needs expounding. This is interesting. Yeah. So I'm wondering.
And he accepted the invitation, looking first at the stopping place of the past. He saw that all of the prophets, peace and blessings be upon him, the most luminous and perfect of humankind, were reciting in chorus, no God but he. The most luminous and perfect of humankind were reciting in chorus, no God but he, and making remembrance of God. With the power of their brilliant, well-attested and innumerable miracles, they were proclaiming God's unity. With the power of their brilliant, well-attested and innumerable miracles, they were proclaiming God's unity. And in order to advance man from the animal state, advance man from the animal state to angelic degree, the qualities, to read the qualities.
Otherwise, we remain in the zoo.
They were instructing men and summoning them to believe in God. So the prophets were instructing men and summoning them to believe in God. Kneeling down in that school of light, he too paid heed to the lesson.
Wow.
I think things are getting serious here.
That's why I told you, let's buckle up.
He saw that in the hand of each of those teachers. He saw that in the hand of each of those teachers, the most exalted and renowned of all celebrated human beings, there were numerous miracles bestowed on them by the Creator of all being as a sign confirming their mission. So the miracles are to confirm the mission, a sign to confirm their mission that they are employed by the Creator of the universe. So there were numerous miracles bestowed on them by the Creator of all beings as a sign confirming their mission. Further, a large group of men, a whole community, had confirmed their claims and come to believe at their hands. A truth assented to and confirmed by these hundreds of thousands of serious and veracious individuals. A truth assented to and confirmed by these hundreds of thousands of serious and veracious individuals, unanimously and in full agreement, was bound to be firm and definitive. He understood, too, that the people of misguidance, in denying a truth attested and affirmed by so many veracious witnesses, were committing a most grievous error, indeed crime, and were therefore deserving of a most grievous punishment. He understood too that the people of misguidance, in denying a truth attested and affirmed by so many veracious witnesses, were committing a most grievous error, indeed a crime, and were therefore deserving of a most grievous punishment. He recognized by contrast those who assented to the truth and believed in it as being the most true and righteous, and a further degree of the sanctity of belief became apparent to him.
That's interesting.
We'll come back to this. Let's finish.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah,
Right.
definitely. Let's finish.
Yes, the infinite miracles bestowed by God on the prophets, peace be upon them. The infinite miracles bestowed by God on the prophets, peace be upon them, each one being like a confirmation of their mission. Each of the miracles being like a confirmation of their mission. The heavenly blows dealt to their opponents, each being like a proof of their truthfulness. Their individual perfections, each one being like an indication of their righteousness. Each one being like an indication, their perfections, each one being like an indication of their righteousness, their veracious teachings, the strength of their faith, a witness to their honesty, their supreme seriousness and readiness to self-sacrifice, the sacred books and pages held by their hands, their countless pupils who, through following their paths, attain truth, perfection, and light, thus proving again the truthfulness of the teachings. Their countless pupils who, through following their paths, attain truth, perfection, and light, and thus proving again the truthfulness of the teachings. The unanimous agreement of the prophets, those most earnest warners, and their followers in all positive matters, their concord, mutual support, and affinity. All of this constitutes so powerful a proof that no power on earth can confront it, and no doubt or hesitation can survive it. Our traveler understood further that inclusion of belief in all the prophets, peace be upon them, among the pillars of belief, represents another great source of strength. Thus he derived great benefit of faith from their lessons, in expression of which we said in the 8th degree of the first station, there is no God but God, to the necessity of whose existence in unity points the unanimity of all the prophets. Through the power of their luminous miracles that both affirm and are affirmed. The power of their luminous miracles that both affirm, the luminous miracles affirm and are affirmed.
Mm.
So, Faria, you had some comments. Go ahead.
Well, I think it was interesting to be reading the universe, what we look around us. It's a challenging journey to read oneself. Like I can gossip as much as I can about creation, but now the author is letting us know that utilize this evidence to work out your conclusions or understandings of the meaning of this universe, or what we refer to as belief. And so now let's bring the case to ourselves, because we are in this universe. We are also part of this bigger circle of animal kingdom, vegetable kingdom, and so on. And it's just a little scary thing to do, because all these talk, statements, miracles, prophethood, as in I have to a little bit bring that in, make it part of my equation to work out myself as well. Or perhaps what he's saying is that how else would I know how to read myself? How else would I know how to train my human feelings is through humanity or prophetic message. And then there's like all this miracle stuff. So I don't know.
So you're saying in the human journey of going through the universe, now the entrance of the prophets and their miracles, how did that come about?
Sure, yeah.
But it's a gradual journey, right, from different various kingdoms. And now in the human kingdom, which is the most intelligent, as you can see, kingdom, like the most sophisticated, everything with the qualities that the human being finds themselves with, who can make sense of all the other things around them.
Mhm.
So there must be some individuals that must have mastered or have been guided from the one who, the qualities that we've been wondering about and have been concluding and witnessing. There is no God but He. That must have been assigned by them. And the miracles, as the author is presenting, were given for that purpose, so that we recognize who these individuals are that have been employed by the owner of the universe.
Good point. Yeah, so just like observing different kingdom, so we observe the miracles and then heed to what they have to claim as well, and then say, hey, yeah, that fits my human side as well. So there we go. I joined the School of Light and pay heed to the lesson. I mean, I'm just trying to summarize that last I guess this first paragraph of the human journey.
Sounds good.
Yeah, on the left.
Anybody would like to comment on this? Please go ahead.
Okay.
Nobody?
So while people are thinking and gathering their thoughts, let's look into like how really interestingly the author is presenting the case as well, where the second paragraph then says, hey, a large group of men have confirmed that claim, and it makes sense to my human side as well. So I think if everybody's in conformity about something, or what's the result of something, or what things point to, then one can be sure about what they conclude.
Yeah.
Right. All right.
So I'm looking at the conclusion that there is no God but God, to the necessity of whose existence in unity points the unanimity of all the prophets.
Yeah.
Through the power of their luminous miracles and the miracles that are both affirmed, that they're the unity of the one who is allowing this, or who is giving permission for those miracles, they're both affirmed and are affirmed. So then their message, that which is also to point to the unity of the creator of the universe, and that gets affirmed as well.
Through the power of their luminous miracles. Oh yeah, that makes sense. We affirm it, and the miracles also affirm.
The miracles are both affirmed, and then they are affirmed.
Sure. So the conclusion is a summary of what was read. So that makes sense.
So if there's anything else, I think we can. Do you have anything? Or anybody else has anything? Brother Ali and Usman, please go ahead.
Okay, Osman, would you like to say something?
No, you raised your hand.
Okay. Because your name is first, so
yes,
you have the priority. So, I'm sorry, I missed some discussions earlier on. Yeah, I just, maybe you might have mentioned it. The miracles of the prophets are mentioned here quite frequently. I found that in the text, going through the text, why suddenly the messengers are presented in the text with their miracles? Because our understanding, or my understanding, is that when I see the miracle, I see the miracle of the prophets mentioned here, Moses' miracle, and I don't know. Yeah, of course, Noah's miracles are famous, And Jesus' miracles are famous in the Quran, as it is mentioned in the Quran. And and not many. Now, some people forcibly say that the splitting of the moon is the prophet's miracle, but it is disputed because it is not presented as a miracle of the prophet in the Quran. In fact, just moon split it, that's it. It doesn't mean that according to the text of the Quran, it doesn't mean that it happened as a miracle demonstrated through the hands, or of course by God, but through the hands of the prophet. It means through him. That is another problem, of course, a technical problem about reading the Quran and the structure of the sentence and words. That is another problem, but bear in mind that Quran doesn't mention really the miracle of the Prophet Muhammad, many, but Moses, yes, Jesus, yes. And of course, Noah's, yes, as far as I understand. What else? Solomon's miracle. Yeah, the birds are speaking, and yes, Solomon's miracles as well. I'm trying to remember going through the Quran altogether, what the miracles, which miracles of the prophets are explicitly mentioned there. Sorry? Yunus's miracle. Yeah. I mean, living in the body, but it is a symbolic teaching. It is not presented as a miracle. Yeah. Okay. Literally, it is not mentioned as a miracle. But what I understand here, the author must or should mean the miracle in the message that they bring to us. Message. What makes a person a messenger? Primarily the message he brings, and this message is miraculous. Why is it miraculous in the text that we read now today? You read and we followed. The humanity in the first paragraph, it says, humanity headed by the prophets invited him, and he accepted the invitation. Now, I said, as soon as I read this, I underlined it because human beings accepted the invitation of the prophets. That's how I understood from the text. If I am wrong, please just say me without waiting right now. Say, no, it means something else. But what I understood, human beings are not studied in this text, or humanity is not studied in the text. Quite interesting, because humanity is studied with their head, prophets. So we cannot imagine a man or a species of human beings or species of a being, any being in the human form without the prophets, without the messengers, if you follow what I mean. I mean, if I am a man here, without a prophet, I am not a human being, really. I am another kind of animal without the prophet. That's why the Quran really explicitly explains and implicitly explains on many occasions, but as far as I notice, explicitly says, if we did not send a prophet to a people, these people will not be responsible this is the Quran says. Now, they are not responsible. They won't be taken into account as human beings. I am adding this because in their existence, in their creation, these human beings are not really within the description of the humanity. Without the head or the messenger, human beings' creation will be not complete. So they will be something. I don't see that they are not human beings. Don't misunderstand me. As far as the definition of the perfected human beings, it must be my body, my spirit, and the message I receive through the messengers. That completes my humanity. And this message completes what my humanity in my existence is missing as a perfect artifact or the masterpiece of the creator on earth. If I make sense of it, I don't know if I can really make sense of it.
I actually wanted to ask because when I first read this paragraph, I was wondering, essentially, when we speak about the creation and animals, this is something I witness. I can see, I can confirm that these must have a source. And when we read the paragraph about this next paragraph about the messengers, prophets, and miracles, I was wondering, where is the strength in the argument in that, in the sense that I do not witness miracles the same way I witness the animals. I can just look in the world and then see animals.
If I understand the miracle in a narrow said physical things that blowing into the mud in the shape of a bird and blowing into it, breathing into it, and then it starts alive.
Right.
That is a miracle. I'm not saying it is not a miracle. None of my business. But of course, some scholars, I remember reading some certain type of scholars say when Jesus breathed, it means delivered the message into a body, human body, flesh, like mud, made of mud. In the language of the Quran, human body is made of what? Clay, mud. It means dirt. So mud, and not in the sense of dirty earth, something earthware. Different kinds of earthwares, but doesn't matter. They are all made up of earth. So breathed into the earth, and then earth became alive and started flying. It means human spirit can get the life from the message of the messengers. And it is so harmonious with the nature of the human structure. Although we have spirit, that is correct, even those human beings who have not been given the opportunity to communicate with the messenger, they are responsible within their own capacity of their own souls, within the capacity of their own souls. That's it. But with the messengers coming them, heading a human being, breathing the message into the body of the human being, that human being becomes full-fledged bird, flying now. It means really communicating, directly connecting with their creator consciously and getting full satisfaction. It means how do you say it? The beginning and the end is meeting each other. That is why Kabu said in the language of the Quran, that is the mirage. That is ascension. Getting so close to each other, but not touching, but so close to each other. It means the human beings become fully aware of what the reality is, as far as a created being can go further in their capacity. That is possible only through the miraculous messages of the messengers. It is message brought to human beings through messages, and this message completely fits the needs of human spirit. Do you see that how the circle is completed now? That is why I think that there is no other way that all of a sudden the author started speaking human beings. No, started speaking human beings is not out of ordinary, because it's gradually developing, starting from the air and from wind, from clouds, and coming to animal kingdom, and then coming, of course, it is expected that human creation or the human beings, it's a special animal, needs to be specially treated. I understand that subject come to human being, but all of a sudden, when the author started talking about humanity in general as an evidence to the existence and absoluteness, unity of God. So he didn't say humanity only. He said humanity headed by prophets. And the miraculous message just completes their creation, if you like. Makes a perfect artifact of and masterpiece of the creator on earth. Because this human being, with the help of the message that the prophets, messengers deliver to them, that message completely fits the need of human spirit in order to reach its ultimate aim of existence. Like I understand that we make the machine, computer or whatever, a telephone, material side of the machine, we make it in such a way that it is ready to work, but there is no program.
Yep.
There is no program. It means there is no, do you call it software?
Yes. Software.
Simply, there is no program. There is no program has installed on it. What is it good for? But the machine is made in order to function, in order to how do you say, act and realize the program. When you load the program on it, the machine, all the pieces of all the tools and pieces in the machine starts functioning perfectly. That is the ultimate aim of making the computer, or let's say iPhone or something. If I have a telephone or computer, let's say laptop, without any program application has been installed on it, what is it good for it? Yes, it shows that it is made. For so far we studied this. It shows that it is made by an engineer, perfectly designed. It shows that the engineer must exist. As the text keeps saying that there is no God but God, to whose necessary existence in unity points to the consensus of all animals or whatever, and now human beings. I understand, but it is not the perfect and ultimate aim of making the computer. that perfection is completed by the message of the messengers. So we shouldn't reduce the word miracle to the physical miracles narrated in the Quran literally, so that Moses, without the staff in his hand or white arm, is not the Moses. Why? Without the message of Moses, Moses is an ordinary, another animate being, human being, which is called human being. It means a perfect creation, as far as its own creation, the perfection is concerned. For example, a bird, a dog is perfect in its creation. Yeah. A fly is perfect in its creation. Moses is perfect in its creation. But the stuff makes it ultimate purpose of the existence of the or creation of this earth. That is why Quran puts human being in the center of Khalifa in the earth. So in the language of the Quran, it is so interesting. It says, we are going to let you inherit the earth if you follow the message of the messenger I sent you. We will assign you as the caliph if you follow the message. That is the purpose of your existence. It means human beings are created to inherit the earth and act there in the name of God in connection with him. It is so perfect. It struck my attention suddenly as I read it, and I wasn't here when you were reading the first paragraph, so sorry. But I read it separate. I said, oh, that is the point. And I was excited to share it with you. Would you like to say? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. I am excited really with this understanding.
Thank you for your comments. And would anybody else have any comment on this?
No, I mean, we were wondering about the same thing as well. So pretty much humanity does need some sort of training, which is headed by the prophets to really make sense of existence. Otherwise, yeah, I think would look miraculous, but and amazing, but without any ultimate purpose to the existence of this universe, then life becomes just meaningless. So therefore, the prophetic message or guidance is really helping us live life to the fullest in terms of making sense of our existence. And what's that? Man is what?
Made special.
Oh yeah, man is definitely, yeah, man is made special. Very, very good point. And yeah, I guess it's also under the leadership of someone, then otherwise humanity is just lost. I don't know.
So I was thinking about the comment Osman made about how, something we witness, for example, the vegetable and animal kingdom, and now he enters the realm of the man, but then he uses humanity. He says the world of man, the realm of humanity. So he's looking more on the humanity side of man. And then, as you said, brother, you also emphasized that headed by the prophets, humanity which is headed by the prophets.
Mhm.
So humanity only comes, the spirit only becomes alive, man's spirit, when it receives the message that comes from the prophets. Otherwise, the spirit is dead or not that awakened. Would be like an animal kind of spirit, but humanity comes into man's spirit through the message of the prophet. I think that's right. Any comment by anyone, or anybody would like to add anything? Yes, Brother Ali, and I think let's Suhail, maybe you can go first, and then Brother Ali.
Assalamu alaikum. I just wanted to say, if you don't believe in prophecy, you have no aim then, as he's pointing out. And if you have no aim, then everything's just random and chaos. And if everything is just if everything is just chaos, then the animal kingdom or the plant kingdom points to nothing because they don't mean anything. So it's in prophecy that, as you all mentioned, man is awakened or his spirit shaken. He's woken up to the reality of things through their, bringing a revelation and their message. So you can't, in other words, you can't, if you talk about things meaning something and things having some purpose and pointing somewhere, you have to talk of prophecy. They go hand in hand together. You can't just believe in something and then deny prophecy, because what are you necessarily believing in? Because if you deny prophecy, you're denying this guidance from the creator of the whole universe, and the creator of all things that are meaningful. So, I think, just in other words, Norcy's tying, different aspects of belief together through the reality of the universe. So looking at the universe and tying together in the necessary existence of an absolute one. And I don't think he mentions angels here, but I mean, you could tie in, he mentions taking in also the angelic degree. So tying the meaningful aspect of things, which is the angelic aspect, or the spirit-like aspect of things, and tying that to prophecy and so on and so forth. So.
Thank you, Suhail. So the humanity comes through the message of the prophethood. Brother Ali, would you like to add anything? Your hand was up, or Usman.
Yes, thank you. Not forgetting it. I was waiting for it. I remember, I just recalled that my previous emphasis on the importance of the message as the miracle and completing the creation of the caliph on earth, inheriting the earth and using it in the name of God, and connecting the earth back to its own origin of existence, returning it back. That is Iman, that is belief in God, really returning the creation to its real owner, and worshiping and connecting Abd and Ma'bud, the one who worships and the one who is worshipped God. It means not only understanding, but at the same time confirming what the reality is. Anyway, that is realized by the message. Those people who are not given the opportunity to encounter the message, they are human beings. They are not animals, but they are not accountable for utilizing their human abilities in order to connect with God in the form of worship. They are not accountable for it. So they cannot really, they are not expected, that they don't really expect to have a worship relationship with God and completing the ultimate purpose of the creation of this universe altogether for human beings. So they are innocent. We acknowledge them, we respect them, We respect every creature, including them as human beings. We respect the plants as plants and animals as animals, and they are human beings and they are. But Quran is extremely, if you like, angry, extremely sensitive about denying when the message comes there. And the Quran says, we do not destroy any any people without sending or before sending the messenger to them. It means they are respected and they are accepted as they are, and I am sure they will go to paradise straight because they have no responsibility. As human beings, they will go there. Okay. But those people, again, in the language of the Quran, who deny the message, it means reject their humanity, what the Quran calls them, أُولَٰئِكَ كَالْأَنْعَامِ. They are like animals, and another kind of animal. Another kind of animal, because they rejected their reality, even worse. بَلْهُمْ أَضَلَّ. That is the stand of the Quran. That is why humanity can perfect themselves only through the message. Otherwise, humanity is another species of animal kingdom, but as a human being. But denial makes them worse than ordinary human species, worse than animal. So that is why they deserve to be punished. Animals will not be punished. And innocent people who have not received the message will be treated as human beings. But these people who consciously and deliberately deny the message which fits to their creation, their reality as a human being, of course, and deny it. For example, let's say a computer, a machine itself, without the program, without the applications. And when the application, let's say this machine has a free will. When you download and install the application, if the machine, as a result of using his free will in the wrong way, it is possible because free will can be used in right or wrong. So if they prefer to use it in the wrong way and reject the installation of the application, what do? You get angry with the machine because he has a free will, a consciousness. Let's assume this is just an example in order to make the case clear. What do? You get said, okay, I'm going to smash you down. That is hell. Because you are not functioning. I made you for this and you are not functioning. And because I'm installing you the program which fits to your structure. And you are rejecting it. Don't say that I'm not going to accept it. I'm going to remain as a machine. And you'd say, okay, you are good for nothing then. I destroy it. Then throw it into the trash can. That is hell. That is why the Quran uses furious languages. Those people who deny the message of the Prophet after the message becomes clear to them. That's very important. Yeah, ayatun mubin. Ayatun mubin. Clear message comes to them. If they deny the clear message, they will be sent to the garbage. Why? They deserve to be. They are not innocent. That is why humanity can only be completed through the message. And this is so wise to study the human existence alongside with the prophethood. Without the prophethood, human beings will be categorized among the animals and birds. It is very exciting, very interesting. I found it very interesting. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alhamdulillah, thank you for the comment. Okay, I think we're at time here. If there's any final comment by anyone, you can take that. Otherwise, inshallah, we'll continue with this journey. And I think the next journey is into the realm of the scholarship that comes from the prophethood. So this was journeying through the message coming from the prophets, and then the message from the scholars, inshallah. So we will continue with that. Thank you, everyone. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.